In the mid-2000s, a child molester living in Thailand posted various pictures of himself online depicting his abuse to young boys. But the man used an editing app to swirl his face, coining him the notorious nickname Swirlface. In 2007, Interpol managed to unswirl his face and reveal his true identity. Christopher Paul Neal was subsequently arrested for the sexual abuse of at least 12 young boys. He was released from prison in 2017 and now lives in Vancouver, Canada. In a 1974 interview, NBA legend Pistol Pete Maravich said, quote, "I don't want to play 10 years in the NBA and then die of a heart attack at age 40. He played in the NBA for 10 years from 1970 to 1980 and then died of a heart attack in 1988 at age 40. This is a photo of a little African girl in a zoo in Belgium in 1958. The Oxford English Dictionary was mostly written by William Chester Minor, a schizophrenic murderer who cut off his own penis and spent most of his life in a mental institution. Famous Austrian composer and painter Arnold Shonberg had triskaidekaphobia, aka a fear of the number 13. He feared the number so much that he called it 12A instead of 13. For years he was terrified that he would die on Friday the 13th when he was 76, since 7 plus 6 equals 13. In fact, he was so scared of that day that he stayed in bed all night until he essentially scared himself to death. He died of a heart attack just minutes before midnight. As per his request, the creator of Pringles had his ashes stored in a Pringles can when he died. 18 months after colon surgery, an Australian woman returned to the hospital when she was experiencing severe stomach pain. Apparently, the surgeons had accidentally left their scissors inside of her abdomen. When Robin Williams met Coco the gorilla for the first time in 2001, he made her smile for the first time in 6 months. When Robin died in 2014, Coco overheard the news and said the word cry in sign language. A girl who grew up in a concentration camp drew this when she was asked to draw a picture of home in 1948. The deacon St. Lawrence was roasted alive on a giant grill during the persecution of Valerian in 258 AD. As he was being executed, he joked with his tormentors, "Turn me over, I'm done on this side." Today, he is the patron saint of chefs, firefighters, and comedians. In 2010, excavators at Ground Zero found an 18th century wooden ship underneath the rubble. For more than 200 years, it lay hidden beneath the ground upon which the World Trade Center once stood. This is the Osberg ship, a 9th century Viking ship that was found almost perfectly preserved in a burial mound in Norway. After a bowhead whale was killed in Alaska by local whalers in 2007, an old harpoon tip was found in its neck. Biologists estimate that the 6-inch harpoon tip dates back to 1880, meaning the 50-ton whale had been coasting around Arctic waters since Victorian times, thus proving that the bowhead whale is the oldest living mammal on Earth. In 1963, Rodney Fox was spearfishing off the coast of Australia when something suddenly pulled him under. Within seconds, Fox was suffering from a punctured lung, ripped diaphragm, pierced scapula, and an exposed rib cage, abdomen, and spleen. After pulling him up from the water, rescuers had to keep his wetsuit on to prevent his organs from spilling out. After 4 hours of surgery and 462 stitches, Rodney Fox lived to tell the tale of surviving one of the worst great white shark attacks in recorded history. A 43-year-old man named Jason Vukovic, who was sexually assaulted as a boy, used an online sex offenders registry to track down pedophiles and beat them with a hammer. He was sentenced to 23 years in prison for multiple first-degree assault charges. Japanese death row inmates are not told the date of their execution. They wake up each day wondering if today might be their last. The 1902 St. Pierre volcanic eruption killed all 35,000 people in the nearby town except for one man. He only survived because he was the worst prisoner in town and lived deep in a solitary confinement cell. A 42-year-old Russian fisherman was viciously attacked by a bear in 2014, but he was saved when the ringtone his granddaughter installed on his iPhone suddenly went off. Justin Bieber's song Baby miraculously sent the bear running back into the woods. In Houston, Texas, a 19-year-old boy named Rashad died while attempting to play Russian roulette in front of friends. He apparently didn't know how the game works since he tried to use a semi-automatic pistol instead of a revolver. There are over 70 documented cases of transplant patients experiencing the same thoughts and feelings as their owners did in life. People have reported everything from craving their donors' favorite foods to inheriting their talents. It has posed a theory that the cells in our bodies can store memories. In 1999, skydiver Joan Murray's parachute malfunctioned, causing her to fall 14,500 feet to the ground. Miraculously, Joan survived the fall, thanks to the fact that she landed directly onto a mound of fire ants. Doctors believe that being stung over 200 times by the ants released a surge of adrenaline that kept her heart beating. Refrigerator doors are only magnetic because kids used to die inside of them. Before the Refrigerator Safety Act of 1956, the doors could only be opened by pulling the handle from the outside, which resulted in the deaths of many children who found abandoned refrigerators and got trapped inside of them while playing hide and seek.